Hello everyone. Today in this video, we will see how do we make our program interactive. So what is the meaning of interaction with the program? All of you know that, we have some input devices and some output devices. Input devices are like, your mouse or your keyboard are the input devices. There could be many other input devices as well, like, like joystick or the touch screen. But primarily when we talk about input devices, we talk about these two input devices, keyboard and mouse. So today in this lecture, we will see how do we make our program understand the mouse events. So as you can see, I have created a Pokemon game, or this is a Pokemon game on which we have got a start button. What should happen when somebody or when the player clicks on a start button? When the player clicks on a start button, the game should actually start, okay, because this is just the background and a button. So let me show you. When we click on start button, the game starts. We have some other Pokemons on it. We have the reset button on it. So in this session today, we will see how do we implement the mouse events. As all of you are aware, the very first step is to open your code.org account and create a new GameLab project. So I have already created a new GameLab project. I have named it as key events by using this rename button. I have also imported some of my sprites which I want to use in this particular project. So I have this Pokemon image which I will be using as a background. This is start button which I could get from the libraries, and few other Pokemon images that will appear after we click on a start button. So let's get started. The first thing what I will do, I will create all these sprites. So let me quickly create all these sprites. Very first sprite is Pokemon that we will use as a background. Three steps to create a sprite. I believe all of you remember it by now. Set animation. I set the animation. Now I have this function draw. You can either write it or you can drag and drop it also from these places, but we are doing syntax-based programming, so I suggest everybody to write it. The last step is draw a sprite. So at least my one sprite is done. I would like to resize it. We know how do we scale for scaling. We use this property of a sprite Pokemon.scale. So, okay. And let me give it a nice background. I purposely made it 1.5 because, then the background will come as a border and that will look really nice. See, something like this. You can change the color as well as per your liking. Let me make it red because it is looking too much of yellowish. Okay, so fine. This is my Pokemon background. Now, what I will do, I will add a start button, which we have already taken. So it is very important to name your variables in a way so that it is meaningful. So you can see how I am naming the variables. Maybe I am trying to find out the position. So maybe 200 and 375. Let me try with 200 and 375. Position for this play button. Now goes the animation. Yeah, that looks perfect. Fine. So we have this Pokemon background. We have this start button. Let me also create a couple more sprites or the objects that will appear when we click on this start button. So as I show you, I have already imported these three sprites that we will be using when we click on start button. Same step, I will be creating these three sprites, but there is a difference. If you got the difference, tell me in the comments. Let me find the position, maybe 80 and 8, this place, 80, 85 and 110. Okay, another way Pokemon. I will rename these variables, otherwise it will not work. And I will also have to change the coordinates. Okay, let's give them animation as well. Okay. Okay, so you can see we have these three Pokemons. But until and unless the game starts, I do not want these Pokemons to be visible. So I will set all of them to be invisible. Visible is equals to false will make these as sprites invisible. So I am going to make all these three Pokemons as invisible. At this moment, these three Pokemons are invisible. Now comes the actual code. At this moment, we would like to code if this start button is pressed. If this start button is pressed, this background sprite should become invisible, and maybe my background color changes, and the three Pokemon which we just created should become visible. Okay, so how do we do that? If you go to world, you will see these mouse events. Mouse did move, mouse down, mouse went down, mouse went up, mouse is over, mouse pressed over. Okay. So in this video, we will implement two types of key event. One is key pressed over and another one is mouse is over. Okay. So let's just put the comments here. So two things we are going to do. Number one is mouse is over event. Okay, so this event is triggered when mouse is over a particular sprite. We will see how do we use it. Second event that we will see is mouse pressed over. Okay, so first let's implement mouse is over. So what do we want? We want when mouse is over on this button, start button, its size should grow a little bit. Okay, and when it goes out of this sprite, is button, the size should again come to original. So let's start coding for this one. Whenever we are writing an event, it is important to use if condition. Why? Because we know this draw function keeps on running all the time till the execution of this entire program. Okay, so this draw function actually executes 30 times in a second. And it keeps on checking if there is any event, if there is something new that it needs to be done, if there is some new event, then what are the commands that needs to be executed for that particular event. So it is important that we write these events inside the draw function. So what we will do, if mouse is over, we will use this command, this event. If mouse is over, is sprite. Which is sprite? Is start button. So if mouse is over start button, this is how we use it. Mouse is over is the name of the command that we use, and inside it we give the name of the sprite on which we want to check if the mouse is over this particular sprite or not. So if the mouse is over start button, what do we want? We want the size of the start button to increase a little bit. Currently, we have not resized or we have not scaled the resize button. Currently, we have not scaled this start button. So it means the size is 1. So when the mouse is over start button, we can probably check the size, set the size to 1.1. We know that using the scale property, we can set the size. Okay. So let me reset and run this. What happens? Okay, so when mouse is over this, it grows, but it is not shrinking again. We will also have to write the code to shrink it. So how do we do that? For this, I am putting a else condition. What is the meaning of this else condition? Means if the mouse is not over start button, then what do we want? We want the size to be come back to original size, that is 1. So let me reset run and show it to you. Okay, so you can see as soon as the mouse is not over this start button, the size shrinks to its original size. Okay, another event that we will implement, another mouse event that we will implement is when mouse is pressed over. What does it mean? Means when I'm pressing the mouse, okay, using the mouse pad. When I'm pressing mouse on it, what should happen? What do we want? We want when we are pressing the mouse on a start button, the game should start. And to launch the game, first we will have to remove this background. We will also have to remove this start button, and we will have to make the other sprites visible. But before that, how do we write it? Same way, we will use if. Inside the condition of if, we will write this event. What is this event? Pressed over. If mouse pressed over, which sprite? Again, my start button. Okay, so if mouse is pressed over start button, what do we want? We want these 3 sprites to become visible. So I am doing a copy paste so that it becomes quicker for me. Visible is equals to true. Initially at the beginning, we had marked these sprite visibility as false, which means they were not visible. Now, when this play button is pressed, we want them to be visible. Along with this, we also want this background Pokemon sprite, means this Pokemon BG, to be invisible. Okay, and we also want this start button to be invisible. Okay, so let's test it. Yes, this event is working fine. When I click here, yes. So I have these 3 sprites coming up. Okay, now as a homework, I would like you to implement click events on all these 3 sprites as well. And whenever you click on this, every sprite is saying something. Okay, so I hope you had a good learning. See you soon in the next video. Bye-bye.